Happy Father's Day. This is the meal that my son and daughter made for their dad on Sunday. I hope everyone out there who has served in some father capacity has a wonderful day. Hey everyone, this is KK All Night and welcome to my channel, or perhaps welcome back to my channel. Here I focus on style, fashion, and outfit inspiration with a heavy emphasis on outfit inspiration. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. I currently upload every Sunday, but I am working toward every Sunday and Wednesday, and that is what this is, a Wednesday upload. It's going to be a combination of some different clips and things that sometimes these ideas just come to me and I want to share them with you. So right now I want to talk about putting an outfit together. And sometimes you may have something in mind, you put it together, something's not quite right. You say, oh, well, let me try this pair of earrings or this belt or these shoes. And then you get stuck because you're like, wow, I like both pieces. Like, let's say, for instance, these earrings. These earrings look very cute with this outfit. And the issue I had when I was putting this together is that there were two other pair of earrings that also look cute with this outfit. So I started because I knew I wanted to wear this kimono. And the other day I had this kimono on with jeans and I was ready to pretty much wear the same thing the next day, only because I had it on for like a couple of hours inside the house. But it was going to be really hot and I happened to have this bodysuit just laying out, and I said, you know what? They're matching. And I was thinking about going thrifting, and so that was another reason why I thought this would be a good combination. So based on obviously the weather and what you're going to be doing also lends into what you're going to be wearing. But back to the earrings. So let me come up close. These are the earrings. They're acrylic hoops and they're sheer pink and orange. Look so cute with it. And I said they are so cute, but I had gone in and looked at my jewelry and I had three options for the earrings. I said these are really cute, but I also had another pair that I want to try on for you. And obviously, well, I think it's obvious when you see these on, you're going to see why I chose these. So I'm going to show you one of each earring. So these are the acrylic hoops, and this is the other one of the other pair. And obviously, based on these little flowers in the kimono, I said, oh, those will be cute. So let me put the other one on and show you what it's going to look like. And the reason that I really gravitated toward these is because they're a set, but they're different. So you have the smaller earring here and the longer earring, and I said, oh, I just love that. That's really cute. So I said, oh, what a dilemma. Which one should I pick? So what I'm going to say is the trick or the tip is put the complete outfit on, because this is only part of it. I don't have on any other accessories. I don't have my purse. I don't have my shoes. So I said I was thinking about already wearing these because we have the gold. There it is. You can see it, the gold in the kimono. So I knew I was going to be walking, but I always like a little razzle dazzle. So I knew I wanted to wear these. So I put these on. And immediately I say, out of the two, I prefer these because they have gold in them and they're bringing in the gold from my shoes. So that's part way there. But then I said, well, there is another pair of earrings that I also like. And that is this pair. So I clipped these on and I said, wow, now I'm in a dilemma. They are both very cute. This is how I was wearing my hair. These were the glasses I was going to be wearing. So I said, wait, let me get my bag. This just happens to be the bag I had from the other day, and it matches. And I was like, less to do, less to change over, and this matches. I said, well, it's kind of heavy, and I'm going to be walking around. I think I was going to Costco. And I said, and if I go thrifting, I definitely don't want this big bag. So I said, you know what? I want something crossbody. And I decided on this. Even though there are different patterns in here, they have the same colors with the pink and the blue hues. So I said, let me put this on. And when I did that, it's starting to come together for me. So now my thought process was, I have this thick gold chain And while both of these are white flowers with gold, this had a lot going on with the little dangle and the fact that they were different, and this little part hanging down on this as well. These still could have totally worked, even though this is more green and this is turquoise, but I figured the larger flowers with the gold in the middle had the right colors. Okay, I got the white from the flower. Where's the flower? The white from the flower right here, and the white, and then the gold, which is simple, just in the middle, is picking up on the gold chain as well as the rhinestone shoes. And that is how I arrived at wanting to wear these earrings. I had to put the whole set on together. Now, I also had this belt, which goes with the kimono, and originally I wanted to wrap it around my hair like so. And I actually never tried this because the way that I settled on I really liked, but that would have been cute. The problem is this bodysuit is a little bit big and it bunches up a little bit, but not only that, you can also see the underwear line at the waist, but then there's a seam right here at the natural waist, and so that was giving me too much. So I decided to use the belt to camouflage the seam at the waist, or maybe I slung it low. Yeah, I think I slung it low so that you only saw the seam at the waist. So again, based on the form of how it was looking, I decided to wear the belt right there, and that is how I came up with the look. So I guess the moral of this story is it's very easy to find several pieces that will work with a certain outfit, but to really narrow it down to what you're going to want to wear, you can look at the weather, and you can look at actually what you're going to be doing and put on the entire outfit to see how it all complements or doesn't complement each other. So that's my tip and my trick. I hope it was useful, and I hope you're able to put it to good use. And with that, we will move on to the next segment. All right, hi everyone. If I have placed this correctly, this should be in a Wednesday upload, and I just wanted to come on and talk about the comparison of some items that I have purchased on a fast fashion site, it being Shein. But before I get to that, I also wanted to talk specifically about just fast fashion in general. I think when a lot of people hear that term, they think Shein and Temu. But it's also important to realize that places like Banana Republic, Cider, Mango, most notably Zara, H&M, those retailers are also considered fast fashion, and it is because of their business model of turning over very trendy clothes very quickly. I mean, of course, you also have your ASOS, Pretty Little Things, Boohoo, Fashion Nova. Those retailers would probably go more in line with Shein, but you also have some big retailers that exhibit very much fast fashion methodology, that being Amazon, Target, and Walmart. So I think a lot of times Shein gets vilified, but really most of the places that people are going to typically shop can be considered fast fashion. Now you have some places, let's see, maybe like Chico's or J. Crew or Talbot's, all those being probably more toward the older, older woman would shop, probably because they are more expensive, but those are going to be some places that are not typically classified as fast fashion. But for Gen Z and the younger generation who is on a limited budget, it would make sense that they would turn toward those fast fashion brands. For me personally, I am very price conscious when I shop for clothes, and I have found that the quality in some of those fast fashion places is on par with other higher end places. So does that mean that the fast fashion brands have higher quality than I thought, or does it mean that the higher end brands have lower quality than I thought? I mean, it's debatable. For me, the best way to look at the quality is to look at the type of material. And obviously, if it's 100% cotton, 100% silk, 100% linen, that is going to wear better and tends to be thought of as better quality. But I do know that in here recent times, polyester has made great strides to mimic those natural fabrics and still sustain the durability. And it breathes better than it used to. So it's all, I think, a very much personal choice. I just get uneasy when I hear a lot of folks hopping on the bandwagon to one particular retailer, when in reality, most of the shops that we go to either are considered fast fashion or employ that model, at least 50% in terms of how they produce their product. So having said that, I have found very similar, if not the same item on Amazon as is on Shein, as is on Zara. So you really have to question where you're looking about where you're talking about quality. Now, I am not talking about higher end luxury brands. I have found very good dupes, but I have so far in my shopping history not found anything comparable with higher end luxury brands that I find on mid luxury or even fast fashion level. So today, what I specifically wanted to talk about was Shein. I do shop at Shein. I find a lot of resort wear that I find attractive, which is going to include perhaps a lot of adornment. It may be sheer, there may be sets, beading, big sequins, things of that nature. Tend to get very pricey, but I find that they are at least affordable for me on places like Shein and Fashion Nova, which I will say their line Fashion Nova Luxe I have found have very, very good quality products, at least in my opinion. But anyway, back to Shein. So I have these, I think they're called reverse C earrings. So you would think they would go on like this, but they actually go on backwards, and this stud is what shows in the front. You could absolutely take a different stud and pair it. I don't know, sometimes the hole is very much designed to fit the specific stud that it goes with. So I actually haven't tried that just because I like the gold on gold. But in any case, I wore just the big gold studs, and I thought I had lost one at work. So they were Shein. I immediately went to Shein to purchase another pair, what I assumed was the same pair. So this is what I saw, and it's not like I had the other pair in my hands. But even if I did, looking at this online, you could see how you would think this is the same product. So I purchased them, and in between of purchasing them, I actually found my stud, and I'm so happy that I did, because the quality of the second pair is not anywhere near, in my opinion, the quality to the first pair. Now, some things should have set it off in my mind that they might not have been the same, because I think these were no more than $2, and I want to think these were closer to $4. Now, you're thinking $2 may not be a big difference, but I guess when you're talking about fast fashion and retailer, they do. So I'm going to put the two right here, and I think already you can see that they are a different size. This the original one is slightly bigger than the one that I got as a replacement. The stud still appears to be the same size, but the actual size of the C ring is the second pair is smaller. The other thing I think is noticeable that you can also see is the color of the gold. This is a more deep, maybe brass color is how you would characterize it. This is more shiny, fake looking in my opinion. The third difference is the weight. Now, I'm not saying these feel like 100% metal, but they are definitely more substantial and heavier than these. I'm not sure that either is plastic or metal, and I probably don't want to know if it's metal, what type of metal is in here. I do clean my post with alcohol, and once I get back home from wearing Shein jewelry, I take it off. I also coat my Shein jewelry in clear nail polish, one to help it prevent from turning, which I have never had a problem with, even on those rare ones where I haven't actually polished them, but also as a protectant between my skin and the item. So those three differences, the size, the weight, and the color, is what stuck out to me. Now let's look at these posts right here. Well, there's another difference. So that's a big difference. I didn't even notice. So on the original ones, you have a stud post. So like I said, you could change this out, right? And it goes right in there. The post is on the stud. For the replacement pair, the post is on the C-ring. And so you can only wear these two together. So actually, I don't even know how that works. You would have to put the earring in backwards into that hole and then slip the post on like so. Now let's check the other one to make sure it wasn't some kind of fluke. And no, it is not a fluke. So for these, if you want to wear it as a C-ring, you have to put it in backwards and then put the gold post on top. So I can't even use these as a replacement post because there is no post on the gold ball. Again, here you put the gold stud, has the post, you put that through your ear, and this is the back. I definitely do not like the newer design, and so these will probably definitely be a giveaway to somebody. And I guess you could wear it as a traditional hoop, and the big stud would be in the back. I don't know how much that would show, but that's pretty disappointing. I didn't even realize that. So the point is that the original pair that I got is definitely superior to the second pair. Now, when you purchase from Shein, they do record everything that you purchased. The problem is, Shein and I have quite a long and extensive relationship, so I would have to go back to find these. And a lot of times, if you are more than 6 months out, they don't have this exact product anymore, although they will give you things that are like your product. But again, it's hard to tell, online what the difference is. You certainly can't tell that one is bigger. I'd have to go back and look online. Maybe I will put up the second pair that I actually purchased to the side so we could tell if you could indeed see the difference in the color. But I don't think there's any pictures of the two pieces separate so that you could see that the post was actually on the C-ring as opposed to the other side. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is just buyer beware. The best thing you can do, at least the best thing that I can do, is I look at reviews and I look at pictures. It's important to look at the pictures, but it's also important to read the reviews because, like myself, there are people who really do try to give you an honest and fair review in addition to the pictures to help you purchase an item that is something that you want. With jewelry, typically, you cannot return. They are non-returnable, but if there is something wrong with your item and you contact Shein, if it's a legitimate issue, they very often will let you return the item, which is odd because you can return bathing suits. So I feel like the bathing suit return would be less hygienic than an earring return. And again, I don't know what Shein does with all those returns, if they damage them out or if they go to resell them. Although I think they probably actually do resell at least some of their items, definitely their clothes, because I have gotten items that smelled of perfume or a little bit too wrinkly if they were coming new. And I contacted them and I was able to get a new piece. So I'm on the fence. Like I said, less than $2. Do I even really want to go through the effort of returning it? But this is definitely not what I was expecting it to be. If nothing for the way that the post is made. I could deal with the shiny gold. I could deal with the smaller size. But the fact that the post on the new ones is on the C-ring is, like I said, really disappointing. But for $2, I don't know if I'm going to go through the effort to try to do anything about it. So, again, I guess the moral of this little clip is no matter where you're purchasing from, the reviews and the pictures are going to be your best friend. And unless you are clicking on the link of something you specifically bought before, especially on places like Amazon and Shein that have multiple items of the same that appear to be the same item but have multiple vendors, you really have to be careful because you don't know what you're getting. And fast fashion really applies to probably most of the places that we shop at, not just your Sheins and your Temu. All right, you guys, I decided to go to TJ Maxx, and now that I have gotten into thrifting, I definitely do not go to TJ Maxx very often, but I got a gift card for my birthday, so I decided to try it out. Now, these are some Zara pants. The reason why I wanted to try them on is because they are so long, because I intended to cuff them to have the big cuff. But as you can see, although I got them over my bum, I could not get them over my tummy. I think these were under $20, so I was comfortable with spending that. Also, I tried the neck hack where if it fits around your neck, it should fit around your waist, but that didn't work for me. So I decided to let these pass. And like I said, I think they were less than $20. So the next thing that I had to try on was a jumpsuit, and I have jean jumpsuits, but none that are kind of like overalls. This is Kenzie. I think the tag on it said $80, and TJ Maxx had it for $29.99, you know, 30 bucks. And actually, I actually did really like the way that these fit. They came right to my ankle. I thought, usually I'm a wide leg, long pant type of girl, but I did like the way that they fit. I think there was some hem that could be taken out, maybe not even an inch. But like I said, I did like the way that they fit. If they had been cheaper, I would have considered it. Even though I had the gift card, y'all, now that I've been thrifting, even TJ Maxx and Marshalls seems a little bit expensive. But once I got it buttoned on the shoulders, which were also adjustable, I really thought that it was cute. I did contemplate it, but there was a pair of Coach tennis shoes that I was looking at getting. So in the end, I decided to let these go, even though they were really adorable. I could cuff them up for a more cropped capri look. There I was just trying to, the cuff had gone under a little bit, so I was just seeing how long I could get it. But, you know, you could wear it with a button-down shirt, you could wear it with a turtleneck, you could wear it with a tank top, which is kind of how I had it styled there. I really like how it flattened out my tummy, how the backside looked. But in the end, like I said, it was just a little bit too pricey for me, so I decided to pass on this. Now, there was one more outfit which I thought was so adorable. It was linen. Cynthia Crowley, I think. I love this set. The funny thing about it, the pants were a small and a little bit cropped, but again, there was some hem to take out. And the shirt was like a 1X, but I thought it looked very well on it. It was definitely very well on me. It was definitely my aesthetic. And I thought, you know, I might not even have to take the hem out if I was going to get it. It had the little drawstring on the side for extra detail. Like I said, 100% linen, so it was very cool. But in the end, because they were both $24.99, or the whole set would have been $50, I decided to pass. So just like that, we have come to the end of another Wednesday video. I hope you have enjoyed. You have found some inspiration, perhaps, of things to pull from your closet, or you gained some knowledge for some tips and tricks as you navigate this fashion world. If you have, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, as I am still a new YouTuber trying to grow my channel. Obviously, if you have made it this far to the end of the video, I am assuming that you have enjoyed it and it costs you nothing to subscribe. So I do encourage you to do so. I thank all my current subscribers, and I thank all my potential subscribers as well. And with that, I'm going to close it out and say, you guys be safe out there.